but my relationship with my dad Rick has always been complicated. It's not a terrible person, but he's very focused on appearances and success. And when it comes to me, it's like he's always had these subtle and not societal jabs about how I'm not as good as Travis or Emily. I spent years internalizing it, trying to convince myself it didn't bother me, but there's suddenly so much a person can take. Anyway, we're all at the house for the engagement party. The usual family stuff, snacks, people mingling, small talk. I wasn't expecting anything crazy. It's just another family event. Right at some point during the gathering, Rick stands up to make a toast. I knew it was coming. He's the type of person who loves to be the center of attention at any event, so gets up, clears his throat, and starts going on about how proud he is of Emily, how she's turned out to be such a great person, how he's looking forward to her wedding, all the typical dad stuff. And then he says something like, and of course we can't forget Olivia, my middle child, my oops baby. I honestly thought I misheard him. At first the room got quiet for a split second, and then I realized what he had just said. Oops baby. That's how he just described me in front of everyone. Now, I don't know if Rick was trying to be funny, but there was a moment of silence before a few people awkwardly chuckled. Emily and Travis were laughing along with everyone else, and my mom was smiling politely like this was just some regular family joke. But inside, I felt like I was drowning. I could feel my chest tighten, me breath getting shallow. It wasn't just a joke, it was the casual way he said it, like it was a well-known fact, like it was something I was supposed to accept and laugh off. He continued saying, yo Lydia, she came a little too early, a bit of a surprise. But hey, she turned out alright. She's here now, right? I could feel me face getting hot, my hands trembling. It wasn't even the first time he'd made some remark about me being a mistake. He'd done it before, but it was always under his breath, or just between him and me. Mom, this time he did it in front of everyone, and everyone laughed. I don't know why it hit me so hard this time. Buta did. It was like he was treating me like a joke, like I wasn't even worth a second thought. And no one seemed to care. I looked around at the people I'd known my whole life, and I felt like he, an outsider, my dad, the man who was supposed to have my back, was up there in front of everyone casually humiliating me. I don't know how long I stood there before I snapped out of it, but I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't beat the punk line without saying a word. I grabbed my purse, stood up, and walked out of the room. The last thing I heard was me dad still talking, trying to get all out of something else. I'm not sure if anyone noticed I was leaving at first, but I didn't care. I didn't tell anyone he was leaving. I didn't feel the need to explain myself. I just wanted to get out of there. The drive home was a blur. I remember gripping the steering wheel so tight my knuckles were white. I didn't even turn on the radio, just drove insolence, trying to calm myself down. But I couldn't stop thinking about what happened, about how easy it was for my dad to make me the butt of his joke, about how everyone just went along with it. It felt like everything I'd been feeling for years had just come to a head in that moment. When I got home, I didn't even bother calling anyone. I didn't want to talk to anyone. I didn't want to hear what they had to say about it. The only thing I did was text Emily and tell her I was sorry, but I couldn't stay. She tried calling me immediately, but I ignored it. I didn't want to hear her excuses or her telling me I was being too sensitive. I didn't want to hear any of it. For the next few hours, my phone was blowing up. I could see the texts coming in, first from Emily, then from Travis, and finally from Rick. They were all asking where I went, why I left, what was wrong. I didn't respond. I couldn't. That night, I just sat in my room scrolling through social media, trying to distract myself from everything that had happened, but I couldn't stop thinking about it, about how my dad had turned something that should have been a celebration into something that felt like an insult, and about how even after everything I didn't know how to face them. The next few days felt like a blur, but not in the way that makes you forget things. It was more like me life